Hello, friends. I am Manuel, an elder in Grace Communion, Steele Creek. It is my pleasure to present this brief video about Black History Month, also known as African American History Month, which has been established as an official observance in the United States of America during the month of February. Let me begin by sharing a message from agencies of the United States government: the Library of Congress, the National Archives and Records Administration, the National Endowment for the Humanities, the National Gallery of Art, the National Park Service, the Smithsonian Institution, and the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum join in paying tribute to the generations of African Americans who struggled with adversity to achieve full citizenship in American society. Thanks to these respected institutions, such warm expressions are a long way from what our ancestors experienced in the United States of America. In fact, I can see a big difference in my lifetime. I wholeheartedly give thanks to God, who loves all people, and I appreciate Americans of all ethnicities who show reasonableness, understanding, and warm-heartedness in their view of Black people in this country. How did this national observance come about? It began in 1926 when historian Carter G. Woodson collaborated with other prominent educators to assign the second week of February to be Negro History Week. They chose that time because it coincided with the birthdays of President Abraham Lincoln and Black abolitionist Frederick Douglass. For years, both birthdays had been celebrated among Black Americans in mid-February. Woodson contended that the teaching of Black history was essential to ensure the physical and intellectual survival of Black people within broader society. He said, "If a race has no history, it has no worthwhile tradition. It becomes a negligible factor in the thought of the world, and it stands in danger of being exterminated." At first, the observance of this week was not widely accepted across the nation, but within a few years, it began to gain recognition. When resistance from sympathizers of the former Confederate States arose, Woodson and others stood strong against efforts to rewrite history to make slavery seem to have been good for Black people. Thus, popularity of the event continued to grow in the decades that followed. Then came the turbulent decade of the 1960s. The work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and many others in the civil rights movement drew broad attention to the need to reconsider Black history. The contributions are too many to mention, but I'd like to cite here a radical deed that sparked action and got traction. That is, educators at Kent State University in Akron, Ohio, energized by provocative student actions in Kumba House, their Black Culture Center on campus, proposed the expansion of the week-long event to Black History Month in 1969. The first celebration took place on the campus the following year. Over the next 6 years, observations and celebrations spread through Black culture centers, churches, and schools across the country. In 1976, President Gerald Ford recognized Black History Month during the United States bicentennial. Mr. Ford urged Americans to, and I quote, "seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area of endeavor throughout our history. When government officials and organizations speak, deaf ears begin to open. Consider this. Today, the U.S. State Department recognizes Black History Month with the following statement, quote, "Each February, National Black History Month serves as both a celebration and a powerful reminder that Black history is American history, Black culture is American culture, and Black stories are essential to the ongoing story of America. Our faults, our struggles, our progress, and our aspirations. Shining a light on Black history today is as important to understanding ourselves and growing stronger as a nation as it has ever been. That is why it is essential that we take time to celebrate the immeasurable contributions of Black Americans, honor the legacies and achievements of generations past, reckon with centuries of injustice, and confront those injustices that still fester today." End quote. As I mentioned, I am an ordained elder in Grace Communion Steele Creek, which is part of Grace Communion International, or GCI. In our denomination, reconciliation is a central doctrine. Reconciliation is a word with more than one meaning. Perhaps the strongest of these meanings has to do with bringing together two parties previously apart in relationship into a state of togetherness. My congregation is part of a denomination that values and pursues ethnic reconciliation. It is the love-motivated self-giving of Jesus Christ, who was sent by God the Father to save otherwise doomed humanity, that establishes this reconciliation. Jesus voluntarily gave his life on the cross to reconcile humanity with God and with each other. Members of GCI are taught and empowered to share this love. And our participation in Black History Month is one way for us to do so. In conclusion, let me share my personal story. I was born October 1944, the son of James and Florine Manuel. My book, Manuel Strong, tells the story of my parents and their ancestors, ordinary African Americans who rose from slavery to become a family that has made and still makes significant contributions to the United States of America. There is a copy of this book in your library for any interested in reading it. The cute chocolate-colored baby in this photo is me. Although my blood has a mixture of several ethnicities, I am primarily of African descent, and my ancestors came to America involuntarily as slaves. My historical and cultural experiences formed me to have an African American perspective, and I appreciate that through the visionary leadership of some and the struggles of many, the month of February has been set aside to commemorate the experiences and history of my kinfolk. I share the viewpoint expressed by the U.S. State Department that now, in this time of intense national division, the United States of America needs Black History Month as much as ever before. It is necessary to augment the current history that is taught in many of the nation's educational institutions. Likewise, our churches need to heed this history, held in some well-known and some obscure documents, but above all, in the everyday life experiences of Black Americans. Through acknowledgement of the truth of our collective experiences, we can together strive for a more perfect union.